They own the building, and they sit on a ground lease that the city owns. This was the original SOM design for the music pavilion. And something strange happened here. The partner for SOM said, well, who initially invited Frank Gehry to get involved with the project and design some sort of sculptural application to the pavilion that they designed. And Frank apparently told them no, he wasn't interested in doing that. So one person in particular, her name is Cindy Pritzker, the matriarch of the Pritzker Hyatt Hotel family, said, if you build this, I won't give you $15 million. So it was certainly an incentive to go out and find out if we could actually get Frank Gehry to do the work. So they sent me out to California. I talked to Frank, and I found out that the reason why I didn't want to do it, I said, well, I'm here to offer you the entire pavilion. He said, no, I can't do it. They're friends of mine, and it'll be bad feelings, and I still do work with them. And I said, well, if you don't do it, we'll get some other architect, but it won't be SOM. So he got a little more interested. We rolled out the drawings, and he was looking at them. He said, what's this? He said, I said, well, that's the SOM pedestrian bridge, cable stayed, a very simple bridge. He said, I've never done a bridge before. I said, well, if you do the pavilion, we'll throw in the bridge. So that was enough to sort of make him decide to do it. So he did those two elements of the park. He did lots of models. Frank is pretty much of an intuitive architect. There's no real complicated theory behind what he does. It's just what he feels good about. But he works in a lot of models. So this is the one that Frank wanted to build, and was the one we probably could afford with the budget we had. It was a very simple barrel vault. The trellis was a device that he had come up with. But when Cindy Pritzker saw it, she said, that's just not Frank. So we went to the more flamboyant scheme. And this model, which is actually held together with Scotch tape, and it's just silver-covered paper, was all that we did to make the project. And it was digitized and unveiled at a meeting in the Art Institute in 1998. We had no sort of formal acceptance by the Plan Commission or the public, although I met with a lot of the civic groups during the process, and we invited them to comment. We didn't say we'd take their comments and change anything, but everyone liked it, so it was okay. Frank also designed that bridge, from the simple straight bridge that SOM designed to this wonderful sinuous bridge out of stainless steel. The pavilion is remarkable. This trellis is there to support the sound system, and the sound system is remarkable. It is the only one like it in the entire world. It's largely because the trellis allows us to distribute the sound uniformly over the entire audience. So you hear sound, great sound, whether you're in the front or 600 feet at the back of the audience. It also has a secondary system. One of those speakers is firing down. It's operated by a software called Layers, and it delays sound and manipulates it, so your ear hears sound as if you were in a hall with reflections off of ceilings and walls. It's the only place in the world currently that has that. And it allows us to provide really great sound without having to resort to pumping up the decibel level at the front of the house, which most outdoor venues have. So we're certainly giving the other big for-fee venue, outdoor summer venue in Chicago, a run for the money. That's Ravinia. This huge cantilever protects the orchestra from the sun and the rain. The rest of the audience gets wet, but the orchestra stays dry. And that's what the stage looks like. It's Douglas fir plywood. That's a full chorus and orchestra. Grand Park Symphony. We light the pavilion in different colors. This is the holiday lighting scheme. It's an attraction itself. This is the bridge entry. The bridge, in spite of what the mayor said, we're fortunate to have the only Gehry designed bridge in the world. He hated the bridge. And every time I would take it to show him, I was the liaison between the donor group and the mayor's office and the various departments and the architects and engineers and artists. He would take out a pencil and he put a big X through my drawing. And I would go back to John Bryan and I say, the mayor doesn't want the bridge. And John said, well, he told me, he said it was okay. I said, well, that's not what he's saying. I think John was sort of doubting whether I was, smoking something when I went to the mayor's office. But so this went on for about 6 months. Finally, we brought Frank Gehry into Chicago. The mayor went out to visit him, and he grudgingly said, okay, because we talked to him about the benefit of this leg of the bridge. It provides an acoustical buffer, barrier, between this road, Columbus Drive, and the Great Lawn. So there's an acoustical reason for it, which he sort of said, okay. He said it's the bridge to nowhere. You've heard that before, right? Well, ultimately, it's going to go to a new children's museum that's proposed to be built in Grant Park underground, but with lots of southern light. And we're actually involved in that too. John Bryan and myself are talking about doing an adventure children's garden across from Millennium Park. But people love this bridge, despite the fact that it doesn't go anywhere. There's a constant parade of people back and forth. And this is the bike station. Originally, the bike station, we got federal funds for this, CMAQ funds. It was creating underground parking for about 300 bicycles. It has lockers, showers, toilets, so the idea was people would bike to work. They could park their bike here in a tended area, take a shower, have a locker, change clothes, and go to their office across the street. Very popular. It's actually, they have a waiting list now to become members. And when we finished the project, about a couple years after it was finished, it wasn't named. So we were looking, McDonald's saw the park was successful. They were $1 million donor. And John Bryan went to them and said, we've got a project for you to underwrite. So they wanted to improve their image as a corporation that promotes healthy lifestyles. So putting their name on this building, which is now the McDonald's Cycle Center, was a way to sort of get around that. And they also provided a $3 million endowment for exercise programs in the park. So after you have your Egg McMuffin in the morning, you can come to the park, and 4 hours of exercise will probably work off half those calories. This is one of my favorite photos. This is a yoga class. There are 4 pavilions called the Exelon Pavilions. This is one of them. That's also the visitor center. These buildings are clad with photocells, and they generate electricity, which we sell to the grid. Now, the electric company wanted to find something that they could sort of hang their hat on. So the fact that we put the photocells and made a demonstration of alternate energy was something that appealed to them. It also has public art. This is by a local artist. The one at the south end, 2 at the south end were designed by Renzo Piano, who's doing the new addition to the Art Institute. This was the original peristyle that you saw in that early photograph, which was destroyed in 1953. And we brought it back as the place to acknowledge the contributions of the 115 donors who gave $1 million or more. There was 1 at 15, 2 at 10, 10 at 5, and the rest were $1 million. Oprah is one of our donors. She only did $1 million. Oops, wrong way. So all of the individuals, foundations, and corporations were acknowledged in permanent and stone, 2.5-inch high lettering. Well, this got blacked out. This was, anyway, showing all the donor elements. They ultimately accumulated $20 million, and then now $40 million from some additional donors, and it listed all the elements of the park.